Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally here at the end of the big old 2025, and I must say, for the games that we played on the channel this year, it was pretty alright. Looking back now as I'm reading the script for this video, bro, these are pretty much mini reviews of every single game I played, but we're still gonna roll with it. But before we get started, we have to discuss the rules. So I have the rules listed here. Rule number 1, as the title says, this list will only include games that I've actually beaten in 2025, not games that I'm currently playing. Now, what do I mean by the word beaten? That segues to rule number 2. So rule number 2 is how I define beaten means that I rolled the credits. It doesn't matter if the game has multiple endings. If I roll the credits at least one time in the game, I beat it. So that's it. Now 3. Rule number 3. I am ranking all of these games based on personal enjoyment. Alright? All of these games, stories, combat, lore, quality of life, I'm ranking off my personal experience, which is, yes, it is subjective. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. And 4, the most important rule of them all, I'm going to be including DLCs into this list as well. That is what I mean by every game that I've beaten in 2025. So just those 4 rules, it's that simple, so let's get started. We have a total of, let's see, 15 games I beat this year, and we're just gonna go from 15 to number 1. Obviously 15 being the one that I enjoyed the least, number 1 being the game that I enjoyed the most out of this year. And you'll be surprised, it's not gonna be the typical number 1 that everybody has. So let's get started. So coming up in number 15, well, you guys are probably going to be surprised by this as well, but number 15 is pretty much synonymous with number 14, so 15 and 14 do go into a pair, and you'll see why. Alright, so coming up at number 14/15, we have Now you're probably wondering, these two are in the bottom? Seriously? And honestly, I don't really have much to say. Speaking of Demon Slayer, I've already seen the anime and the Infinity Castle movie earlier this year. The Chainsaw Man Raise the Ark movie was better, by the way. And there's nothing in these main story duology of these two games that I haven't already experienced. Again, I've already seen the anime. The new Hashira characters were cool in the game. And some of the original cast from the first game got new battle cutscenes and new ultimates as well. And there's also the cool Team Ultimate as well. But you guys have to understand, literally the only thing I interacted with this game was just the story. I didn't even interact with the online modes of both of these games. I just did the story mode of both of these games. And then that's it. I put them in a disc and then I sold it. I don't even have the physical copies of those games anymore, so I mean, yeah, that doesn't mean that this is bad by any means, but like, I can't really rate this high enough because I didn't really enjoy it thoroughly. So you know what I mean? So yeah, so Demon Slayer 1 and 2 is 14 and 15, but since they're interchangeable and since obviously 2 is better than the first, 15 will be Hinokami Chronicles 1, and 14 will be Hinokami Chronicles 2. So like I said, I did beat these games, but only because I focused on the story mode and literally nothing else. I didn't interact with anything else in the game, so it shouldn't really count, and if you don't count it, I wouldn't blame you. So the real rankings start now, starting at number 13. And what is number 13? If you've seen the live streams of me playing this game, you already knew this game was going to be dead last. And it's a shame too. I've been looking forward to Bing Yang's vision, but it fell vastly short of my expectations. And yes, I know that the team that made this game was like around 30 people that didn't know what they're doing, but hey, listen, the product speaks for itself. Impressive as the team's minuscule numbers were able to create this game, which is indeed pleasant to the eyes and it is playable with a fairly engaging combat system and level system, and I'm being very generous with that. It was not enough to make me enjoy the game at all. You know how the saying goes, just as there can be too much of something, there's far too little in this game in terms of what it has to offer. Your entire experience with this game is just straight up action, combat, flashy moves. Don't even get me started on the story, man. Even the story is just as bland as the combat is, because there's not even any character development, man. I don't give a damn about these side characters. Oh, this chick is bathing in the hot springs? We fight here in one moment, next we're all cuddly and close in the campfire next to each other? Okay, why should I care about this chick again? I've literally even forgotten her name. The only names I remember is Kaser and Arena, and I've even forgot his sister's name. Literally the only redeeming quality of this story is the fact that Kaser actually fulfilled his goal. He saved his sister and the world. That was pretty much the entire plot of the game, and speaking as someone that enjoys the lore and story more than the gameplay in general, I actually appreciated that it actually had closure in the end. At the final stream of me playing Lost Soul Aside, I ranked this game a 4 out of 10. And I still stick by that. Alright, so that was a very sour note on Lost Soul Aside. Deservingly so, but let's just move on. We got 12 more games to go. Let's move on to number 12. Now, before I even bought this game, I've heard from a lot of people around on the internet that this game was hot garbanzo. And after beating this game, they were absolutely right. The biggest gripe I have with this game is that it's insultingly easy. I can count the number of bosses that I've died more than once to on one hand. Like, the number of fingers on this hand, I can count the number of bosses I died more than once. They were all that easy. Even the final boss, I beat it on the first attempt, and they're basically just a Temu version of the Elden Beast running away and spamming their attacks on me and shit. I will give credit where credit is due though. The combat is actually very smooth, I will give it that, and there were some points in the game where I actually appreciated the distant scenery in the post-apocalyptic city in ruins, but that's other than that there's just nothing. Deadpan voice acting, easy ass boss fights that insult your intelligence. This game really isn't worth playing at all, bro. The only reason why I placed this game higher in the ranking than Lost Soul Aside is because this game actually has actual challenging bosses, and not only that, they have unique designs and cool designs too. And I know what you're saying, Lost Soul Aside has cool designs, sure, but overall, its execution is just pure dog water. That's enough said, we're moving on to number 11. Now, I enjoyed the hell out of the first Hyrule Warriors game. So much to the point that I bought the game literally 3 times across 3 console generations. That was on the Wii U, 3DS, and now the Switch. And despite getting the first game 3 times, there is a reason why Age of Calamity is this low on the list. The elephant in the room is the horrible graphic. And keep in mind, I played this shit on the Switch too. You should have seen the disgusting face I made when I first played this game on handheld mode. It was absolutely atrocious, bro. This game is in need of a Switch 2 graphic upgrade. They did it for Breath of the Wild, they did it for Tears of the Kingdom. They should be able to do it again for Age of Calamity, bro. They should be able to. Now, in terms of characters, this may be a hot take, but in my opinion, the cast of this game of Calamity, like the playable characters in Age of Calamity, is vastly superior to the cast of Age of Imprisonment. And the reason for that is that it's just simply not bloated with NPC characters that no one gives a crap about. If they were as fleshed out as Calamo and the Night Construct were in Age of Imprisonment, or hell, even Linalia, then they would have definitely made for great additions in the game. Like the NPC characters look basic as hell in Age of Imprisonment, but we're not going to talk about Age of Imprisonment here, we're just talking about Age of Calamity. The most egregious part of this game is definitely the story, because all the time travel nonsense just completely turned me off so hard, man. I didn't enjoy that part of the game at all the moment I realized that. The moment I realized this is deviating from what's actually from the events that actually occurred in Breath of the Wild. And that bit where it shows that Zelda actually created Tarako in her childhood, it sure was nice, but it falls short in its execution, because Tarako was never really even hinted at all in Breath of the Wild, nor is it shown in Zelda's room in Breath of the Wild. So like, at least Calamo gets a pass regardless if it's hinted or not, because he's literally the ancient tree stump that you see in the game, and the ancient tree stump is actually in the game. But listen, is the game fun? Yes. Are the characters fun as hell to play? Yes. All of that doesn't save this game from the story, nor the atrocious graphics, even though it's on the Switch too, so it really needs that upgrade. And when you see the 10 games after this one, you will completely understand why Age of Calamity is so low on this list. So, number 10. Up, hold on, hear me out. This is the first of only 2 DLCs on this list, and it is very short, so I can briefly summarize it in a nutshell. The DLC is split into 2 parts. The first you do is a shooting minigame that's literally just 3D Nikkei, and honestly, Shift Up should actually make a story-based shooter game. That'd be really cool. Like, imagine Stellar Blade, but literally just shooting. That'd be pretty cool. Like maybe Stellar Gun. Like, I would kill for a game like that, like a story-based shoot 'em up game with a hot-ass protagonist. Sign me up. But anyways, after doing the shooting minigames, they will give you enough currency to buy out the shop where you can get all the Nikkei skins. Scarlet will go back, and that's when you can access to the second part of the DLC, which is Scarlet's Battle. Now before you do this, Mann's boss battle is already available off rip, so you can try your hand at that. And accidentally made the mistake of fighting that battle in hard mode, and I must say, I deeply regret that. But yeah, you can now access the Scarlet boss fight, beat her, and then that's literally the DLC. So why did I enjoy this short and simple DLC over Age of Calamity? It's simple. Combat, music, graphics, even if it's a small snippet of the game, I enjoyed it far more than Age of Calamity's mediocre story. And yes, I know the storytelling of Scarlet being in Stellar Blade's universe is also simplistic as hell, but the final boss fight with her was more than enough to bump the enjoyment factor above it in my eyes. You probably won't agree with me with this DLC being on the list, so if you don't, that's completely fine. We'll let the next one on top of it take that place if you don't want to include DLC on this list, which is... I did say I was a story/lore person, didn't I? There's honestly not much to be said here. You've already seen my incomplete playthrough of CL's route on the channel. The story was peak, voice acting was peak, designs were peak. I love the weapons and gadgets CL used throughout the entire arc. Arquied versus CL was also crazy as hell. CL's past and hell, even Noelle Sensei's past was sad too. Noelle's voice actor definitely wins the award for this route for sure. Actually, not even this route, the entire game. That's how good she was. Now, if I was ranking Arquied's route, 100% she would be significantly higher on this list. Arquied's route is just on a whole other level compared to CL's route. That's for sure. But anyways, moving on to number 8. Oh man, what a first experience into the Trail series. This was actually my first and only normal Switch playthrough on the channel. Every Switch game after I beat this one was on the Switch too, so after finishing the game, I'm automatically hooked into the series. I'm definitely gonna be playing the rest of the Trail series for sure, so don't worry, but I just have a lot of more games on my backlog that I already have planned prior. Estelle's story about becoming a senior bracer, her story in finding her dad, and her organic interactions with the other characters in the story, it just feels good, man. Shara, Agathe, Zin, Tita, Olivier, Chloe, and of course Joshua, all of them tie into the narrative so well, especially Chloe. I'm just gonna assume if you're watching this you already know, but the plot twist that Chloe was actually the princess was pretty surprising. And the ending, bro, nothing could have prepared me for that ending, man. Like, damn. We were with Joshua the entire game, man. And this is how we ended. Two lovers since their childhood confessing their loves to each other, but on the same night they split apart. And now Estelle is going after Joshua to bring him back, not only because she loves him, but because they've developed such a deep bond with one another as family. Peak writing. As someone that lives with my folks at the moment, the hard emphasis on family and the importance of it in this game, I really do appreciate it a lot. That's why I really like Mushoku Tensei a lot too. Give it a read. Now the soundtrack in this game is great too, especially the first OST here when you start your first playthrough. The moment I heard that, boy, I knew this was gonna be a good adventure, man. The combat is fun. It's the typical JRPG format where you just demolish the mobs if you do the side quests and such. But I do have a gripe somewhat with how the level designs are. Because if you run into a wall, you can't go back to the open world to farm for more materials. There's multiple points of no return as well that I didn't frankly like. I understand that's the whole point of no return, but because it fits narratively with the story like it's your journey's end, there's no going back. But I still didn't like that in my opinion. And keep in mind, I'm speaking this from a lore story person perspective. So I only appreciate like the lore and such, so I don't want to engage with the combat system or grind, for a better word. Like, I don't want to just continuously grind for content. I only want to experience the story, that's literally it. But again, that's my issue, I know. But yeah, I genuinely wonder what's gonna happen in the second chapter of the remake because it looks hype as hell. And as we go up higher on the ranking of this list, you will soon understand what it is I prioritize of enjoyment above all else. It will become more clear. So let's move on. Number 7. Like I said, from this point onwards, where I prioritize my preferences will become more clear as we get to number 1. So first, Berserker Khazan. This game is literally just like Sekiro, except the boss designs are just on a whole other level, bro. You'd be surprised at how well designed the female bosses are. That was genuinely something I didn't expect. And I'm not talking about the Gunnar designs too. I mean, like, Elamine is fine and all, but I'm not really talking about that. Like, just overall designs in general, they're really good. Actually, majority of these bosses, all of the good ones, all of the well-designed ones, majority of them are just humanoid bosses, and they're really very well designed. Like, it's actually insane how much I really loved all of these bosses. They were really top tier. Like, I forgot the water boss's name on the top of my head, but the woman that like summons all those jellyfish, Reese, other female bosses, especially that annoying ass bitch. I mean, she's annoying. That's the one that summons all of the summons and the skull skeleton things, and she was annoying as shit, but her design was cool too. Bro, and don't even get me started on Hismar, the Berserk dragon. Arguably best top 3 dragon bosses in gaming, not gonna lie, bro. Despite how massive he is, his moveset is still interactable with the deflex, and he gets just even more crazy as you go through the fight. For my first playthrough, I've literally just used dual blades the entire way through, but the combat is so fun that I do plan on returning back to Khazan someday, just so that I can do like an entire playthrough of Greatsword and Spear as well, because they're really good. Soundtrack for this game is top tier as well at specific boss fights, but it's not anything award-winning for sure. And lastly, the storytelling. The storytelling is not that great. Overall, the story wasn't great to begin with either, because the main story was literally just Khazan being like, I was falsely accused and exiled from my own kingdom, where I was loved by all and revered by all as the great general. And it's all the king's fault. I'm gonna get revenge on him. And then you meet an NPC along the way and he's like, but wait, Khazan, it wasn't actually the king, it was this guy behind the scene. He's the guy that pulled the strings behind it all and got you and Ozma exiled from the kingdom. And then Khazan is like, so it is this NPC guy. Okay, I'm gonna get my revenge on him now. And then after you beat another boss, Elamine comes along and then she says something about like another lead on some other guy that was pulling behind the strings. And then Khazan is like, okay, never mind that guy. I'm gonna get revenge on that guy. And then after all this runaround, finally it starts to make sense that Ozma is the person that was actually pulling the strings. And then Khazan is like, my best friend Ozma, I'm gonna get revenge on him now. I'm like, bro, like it's just so like merry-go-round storytelling. Like it's not groundbreaking storytelling at all, bro. And not to mention the ending as well. I mean, when Ozma just like destroyed everything after he got stabbed by Khazan, and then I'm like, well, what happened? And it turns out if you actually did all like the side quests, I think, and you got all the transcripts from Ozma, you realize that it's not actually Ozma, but someone was controlling Ozma or something like that. Which means Ozma wasn't the true villain of Khazan, the entire game at all. So I'm like, oh, okay. Who knows, maybe that's grounds for a potential DLC for Khazan, because honestly, I wouldn't mind a DLC for Khazan. I am down to play first Berserker Khazan again, because the combat was so fun, bro, man. If there was any deflection sound effect that's more satisfying than Sekiro or even on par, it's definitely Khazan, because those deflection, it's so satisfying to hit a deflect. If you haven't played Khazan, you should, bro. I mean, the story is okay. The story isn't that groundbreaking, but the combat more than makes up for it, in my opinion. The deflection is very forgivable, so your skill in the game is basically all comes down to you memorizing the boss's patterns, which is pretty much every Souls-like Souls game, so I mean, you know. But yeah, again, Ozma wasn't the true villain, so maybe there's a potential DLC in 2026. If there is, I'm definitely going to be playing it on the channel, but yeah, that'll be it. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm not discussing the biggest elephant in the room about this game, and that's because I'll be discussing it on number 6, because it directly ties to number 6, which is... Now, believe it or not, Wuchang Fallen Feathers was very close to being ranked in terms of like in personal enjoyment between Khazan and Wuchang. And if I'm gonna be honest, I liked Khazan's combat way more than Wuchang. So what gives? Why am I ranking Wuchang far above Khazan in this list in terms of enjoyment? The main reason is because there's no repetition. There's no repeat of assets in the game. Like if you've noticed in my first Berserker Khazan playthrough, I'm linking every playlist of the games I've played in the description below. If you've seen the side quests, they're all literally just reused assets of places you've been and bosses you've already fought. They're like reskinned bosses, and then the places you've already been to, it's literally just freaking blocks where in the main story you're here. There's one room here and one room here in the story. They'll probably put like more assets in between them. Like that's just stupid, bro. It's not fun. I didn't really enjoy that part of the first Berserker Khazan, which is why I like this part about Wuchang as much, because there's no reused assets. There's no reused bosses from what I remember. But yeah, I mean, I should remember because Wuchang is literally the last game I finished in 2025 that released in 2025. But anyway, and also just like first Berserker Khazan, you can also put in layered armor on your character, which is pretty cool. So you can look as gooner as you'd like in Wuchang. Well, I guess you can also change to a female in Khazan, but I don't think there's any voices for female Khazan. But anyway, the more I look back on the story of Wuchang in regards to the endings, I start to realize, oh wow, this game actually has a good ending, like a complete thorough ending, like a conclusion. So if you didn't know, the story for Wuchang is that she's a pirate, she has the feathering disease or whatever, and then she lost her sister as well. One of the endings is her going into the dream, into the illusion, basically infinite Tsukuyomi herself into a dream where she reunites with her sister. But in the true ending, she realizes that her sister's long gone, you can't go back to the past anymore, and she moves forward to another little sister figure that she can take care of. And that's the true ending. They go off into the future. Well, not future, but you know what I mean. They move on, and that's actually the good ending. Like Wuchang cherishes what she has, and what she still cherishes what she had with her late sister, but she moves on to a new person, and a new person to care for, a new purpose in life, basically. So I really like that ending about Wuchang. It's really good. I didn't really understand that when I first played it, but hey, and now I do. So I appreciate Wuchang a lot. As for the combat, it never really clicked with me until I fought the ice sword dude. I don't know his name, but once I stopped like playing the dodge game like I do with Dark Souls games, I'm like, oh, I understand it now. You have to interact with the parrying system too. It's not like Sekiro, but when you collide your animations with the bosses, if they have a blade, then you parry it and mitigate some damage. But I always spam the spinning skill to where I'd mitigate all damage, and oh man, it's so good. It's so good, dude. I definitely do plan on replaying Wuchang sometime in the future because it was fun, and taking my time in it is going to be more fun for sure. I want to play the sword. Yeah, definitely the sword next time because the sword looks cool. That, and I didn't really fight the other bosses in the game, which were like Demon of Obsession. Who else was it? Oh, the full by crew fight. And then there's also that the boomer that we meet in the start of the game, which is Zhao Yun. I've heard he's like the hardest boss in the game. I've never fought him in my first playthrough, and I do plan on coming back to Wuchang just to fight him for sure. So yeah, that was Wuchang on my list. That's why I ranked it higher than first Berserker Khazan. So you're probably wondering what's ranked higher than Wuchang, and that would be ranked number 5. Oh, Monster Hunter. Of all the games in this ranking, Monster Hunter is my long-standing game of every other game in this list. I've been with Monster Hunter since maybe the early 2010s for sure, maybe 2008, 2010, somewhere before 2010. I started on Monster Hunter on the PSP, Monster Hunter Freedom. Then I started playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Yeah, 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Generations, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, then World, then Iceborne, Rise, Sunbreak, and here we are in Monster Hunter Wilds. So yeah, let's just say I started Monster Hunter around 2010 on Monster Hunter Freedom on the PSP. And now from that point on to today, a decade and a half later, we see the culmination of how the games have progressed over the years. And I must say, in Monster Hunter Wilds, the game was okay. And you're probably wondering, Replica, why are you making it sound like Wilds is mid? You're putting it on your top 5 on the list. So why are you saying that? It was okay on launch without the title updates. I purposely didn't record this section of the rankings because I wanted to wait until the Gogmazios patch was released. And now it has. By the time I'm recording this, it is December 17th. At launch, Wilds didn't have any of that. We didn't have Zoshia, Legiacris, the Grand Hub, the end game grind. We didn't have any of that. And that's why I initially ranked Wilds on 7 on this list, 2 ranks down. But now it's bumped up to 5, like 2 ranks up. So yeah, it would have done less than Wuchang and Khazan, but it's higher than those now that we've pretty much hit the vision of the game, pretty much. Like this is the I don't know what's the word. This is the finality of it, basically. I know we have what's his name? Arc-tempered Arcveld coming on the way, but I mean that's not a new monster. I'm just talking about like the brand new monsters that come in this game, and the end game is quite fun. I used to think the armor economy in this game was shite, but that was because I didn't really grind as much. But I mean, if you wait for the final updates of this game, like the final title updates, where everything is just given to you and you don't have to wait, then the end game of this game is pretty solid, bro. It really is. Like, after I initially beat the story of Wilds, like after I rolled credits back in like, I think I beat the game on launch date actually. Yeah, I beat the game on launch date. After I beat the game, I pretty much never touched it ever again. Well, after I rolled credits, I still continued to play until I got the true ending where we killed the real Arcveld, and Nada's like, okay, I authorize you to kill it. Yeah, that ending. Once I got that ending, I was like, I slowly slipped off of Wilds, but I only came back whenever the title updates released. Like the first one was Mizutsune and Zoshia. I made videos on that on the channel. And then the second title update was Legiacris and Seragios, I believe. I did that too. And the third update was Omega. I didn't really make any content on Omega because I mean it's just a collab thing, and I'm not really a big Final Fantasy 14 person yet. And now here we are in Gogmazios. Gogmazios shares a very deep connection with me because, like I said, I mean, I mentioned this again in 2 other videos, I think. I played For You. For You is a massive part of my childhood, and it's very beloved by me and a lot of people too. So that's why my passion for the game was revitalized, honestly. And yeah, Wilds is a solid game, dude. And many people are saying that Wilds is the best base game that we've received for the entire Monster Hunter series so far. And I must say, yeah, I probably agree. Wilds is the best base game we've had, for sure. Now let's talk about the combat. In terms of the combat, I mean, the offsets and the power guards and clashes, they're a step in the right direction. That's for damn sure. Like it adds it elevates the skill ceiling of your weapons too. So like the great sword, it has power clashes, or it has like if you do the upswing, you can offset them. You can also do that with the switch axe. I think you can do it with the charge blade too, and its axe mode. There's many more, and then you can also do that with the insect glaive too. That's pretty cool. And then you have me, a dual blades main, where we don't have any offsets, we don't have any power clashes. We do have a perfect evade though, so we're dodging like it's Dark Souls. So we got that at least. Now, let me talk about the negatives in this game. So, the one gripe I have in this game is the fact that, well, I have plenty of gripes, but one of the main ones is the fact that the dailies and weeklies. Because when you implement a time-based system where you have to do this in time, then like, the game doesn't respect your time. And I don't like that at all. That's why I don't like a lot of gacha games doing these dailies, because it just wants to farm engagement, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. So, yeah, I don't really like that. I mean, that's the fastest way to get armor spheres, I guess, but I mean, it's not my thing, guys. And I'm sure a lot of people share this sentiment too. Like, the weekly stuff for wilds, I mean, I can do it, and I am actually currently doing it too, but again, I've never really liked how it was time-based. I also don't like how they half-assedly implemented Frenzy into this game. Like, we have Gore Magala, and then he frenzied the monsters like the Kutku, and I think the Nerscylla as well. But I think it only... Oh, and I think it frenzied the Blagonga as well. But like, only a small few of the monsters in the roster, like I would dare say like maybe 4 or 5% of the entire roster, they were frenzied. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, there's no like special material that they drop, do they? So I'm just confused, like, why are frenzied monsters here? I mean, it was cool. I mean, they have to be here because Gore Magala is here, but like, and we had this whole mini arc of Gore Magala frenzying monsters, but other than that, I'm like, there's no point. That's my opinion, though. But am I the only one that feels this way about frenzied monsters in Wilds? Like, they're so small, they're just there, and it irks me for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, and the last part we're gonna talk about is the story. Now, a lot of people are saying, a lot of people don't like the story. Let's be frank. I can see it, because majority of the consensus of why majority of the people don't like Wild's story is because of Nata. And they're like, man, this annoying ass kid is annoying, man. First he wants to kill Arkville, and now he's like, no, it wants to live. Stop, Hunter. I'm like, I mean, it's fine. I mean, look, it's a more emotional investment into the story compared to World Iceborne. That, I mean, look, everybody has a name. Everybody in World was just named the commander or the handler or serious handler, but we actually have some soul. We actually have some soul in Wilds, and I actually like that about it. Hear me out. I'm not a Nata defender, but he was a very naive young boy, and he grew up at the end of Wilds when he said, "Okay, you can slay Arkveld. I authorize you to slay it." So yeah, we got some character development for Nata, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have more development for Nata, because I think he is a hunter now, and once the expansion releases, I'm sure Nata is gonna play a bigger role for sure. Maybe we'll be able to hunt alongside Nata too. That'd be really cool. Like, maybe Nata will be by our side, similarly to how Fiorain in Sunbreak was like our main ally throughout the entire story. I'm pretty sure Nata is gonna be there for us as well, but who knows? But that's enough speculation for the expansion. Let's move on to number 4. A massive step up from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity simply because of its improved graphics. Age of Imprisonment is the culmination of all the Hyrule Warriors games from the past decade for sure. So why is this game above all the rest below? And it's simple, it's because of the story. The story was fantastic. It beats every single one of the other stories below. You could argue that Trails in the Sky is better, which I would agree with you, but you gotta factor in your enjoyment of playing the game as well. For Trails in the Sky, it is a turn-based, but again, if you haven't noticed, I like controlling my character, like moving them around and swinging your sword as the moveset. If I were to choose like a game genre, it's definitely that, not turn-based. Turn-based is like secondary for me, but I still enjoy Trails in the Sky for sure. But again, turn-based is not my go-to experience. That would be like Souls games or games where you control your character, like Monster Hunter Wilds. That's why it placed higher than Trails in the Sky in this list. And the best part of this game is that it's actually canon. I know, it's like sticking to the source material of the game actually makes the game good, instead of just trying to branch out into a different timeline that nobody asked for. And in Age of Imprisonment, you delve more deeper into the mentality of Rauru as well. As the imprisoning war continues to spike up and the tensions are high, you have a lot more respect for Rauru as a result of it. Like how his mentality goes, because literally Sonya was taken away from him, but he still had to lead an army. You gotta respect him for that. For my first playthrough, just experiencing Kalamo and Night Construct's journey from the day they met to the end of the war was honestly a breath of fresh air for Zelda, to be honest. The last experience I had with a Zelda game, where it was literally just homies saving the world, was literally Linebeck and Link back in the Phantom Hourglass. Yo, Phantom Hourglass OGs, comment below, because I feel you guys, because Linebeck was the only character that didn't come back in Hyrule Warriors, man, and it sucked. It is a little bit sad that this is going to be the last game that's going to come into the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom era, but hey, I mean, we have much to look forward to in the future of Zelda, so I am looking forward to it. This Hyrule Warriors game was a perfect send-off to this era of Zelda, if it is indeed the final one, which I'm pretty sure it is. But anyways, we are finally in my favorite top 3 games that I finished in 2025. So at number 3, do I really need to explain how good this game is? I feel like everybody and their mother has already glazed this game enough as it is, so I'm not gonna say much here. Expedition 33 as a whole presents its narrative, story, and gameplay extremely well. But there are some downsides that should be mentioned. It's the fact that you most likely will fail in your very first try against hard encounters, simply because you need to learn the boss's moveset off rip. It's like any Souls game or Souls-like, except you can't really run far to the edge and dodge safely. You actually have to observe the boss's attack patterns from a distance. But in Expedition 33, you dodge and parry in place, so if you mess up, then you just get hit inevitably. And bro, the one thing that made me dislike this game a lot was the freaking inverse debuff, bro. Why do we not have a skill? A character has a skill that gives team-wide debuff, bro. Why? I don't know. I didn't do any of the side content, so I probably missed it or something, or maybe there's a Picto that gives you inverse immunity, but I didn't get it, and that made my life a lot more living hell. But I mean, I completed the game anyways, so I'm good. I mean, I had to change it to story mode, but that didn't stop me from enjoying the story altogether. I really liked the story too. After I beat the game though. Because I had to look online to see the implications, because I didn't do the side story. I was just mainly focused on the main story content. So I guess I didn't appreciate it as much, which is, that is my fault. But hey, despite my grievances with the game, which are, again, I know it's my fault, like the story, the art direction, especially the art direction, and especially the music, they are all top tier. And that's exactly why it deserved its spot in the top 3. So you're probably wondering, what are my top 2 games that I played this year if it's not Expedition 33? I feel like everybody and their mother chose Expedition 33 as their game of the year, well, you'd be surprised. But here we go. We're gonna go in our top 2 now. So top 2 is... What a coincidence that the second game that I beat this year landed in second place. If you know me, the one gaming genre that I enjoy the most is open world. That's why whenever I played Breath of the Wild for the very first time in 2017, I was like, oh yeah, this is my favorite genre of all time. Like, you get to go anywhere and everywhere, you get to progress whenever you like. Everybody's journey is literally different across the entire game. That's what makes it unique. You basically get the exploration and gathering aspect of the Atelier series. You get the open world. Well, you get the concept of open world games like Breath of the Wild. Smash it into one, and you get this game, Atelier Yumia. And it is fantastic, man. Whenever you get the motorcycle, it enhances your exploration by a ton. The more exploration rewards you get from just literally exploring everywhere and anywhere in the world, you get new types of bullets that let you explore more places that you've never been and you can't access without getting those bullets. And not only do you get new like exploration materials, you also get new materials and building materials for your house. Did I mention you can even build your house in this game? That's right, this game is literally just Minecraft, but you have hot girls in it as well. What more do you need? And let's not forget how every playable character is very well written around the central story, especially Rutger. Initially you'd think he's just some typical asshole, but then you learn of his honestly disturbing past. Because if you play the game, Rutger talks about his past, about how he pretty much had to sell his memories to get by. When he was still a kid too, which is kind of insane. And then there's also Nina being a homunculus of the Alchemist Empire. Bro, my mind just crashed the hell out whenever I forgot the wolf guy said that plot twist. And I was like, oh shit. And then there's also the fact that Nina and Victor were out for blood for Vesper that killed their parents. And then there was the other woman. I think her name is Layla or Lilia or something like that. She was the girl that was always angry. Yeah, she had a very tragic story as well, because she got turned into that monstrous creature against her own will. And it was sad too, because she still fought for a cause that she didn't believe in. Basilius probably promised her that she would be able to turn her back, but deep down she knew that he wasn't going to do it. But she still fought for Basilius in the end. And that was just tragic, honestly. Let's see. Oh, and there's also Lenya, the last playable character in the game. I mean, she's the little wolf chick. I mean, she doesn't do that much drastic things. I mean, she's cute, and she has some cute moments here and there, and very wholesome moments. Like, oh, I need to talk about this. So, there's 2 moments in this game that made me solidify why this is probably going to be one of my higher rated games in this list. So, and obviously spoilers is going to happen. So the first one is whenever I think we were still more deeper into the game, more than halfway through, I believe. Remember when Nina was shown to be a homunculus? And I was like, oh shit. Everybody was like, oh shit. And then everybody went on their separate paths for a bit, and they were just contemplating about Nina's existence as a homunculus because she was created by the Alchemist Empire. And then we didn't trust her at that point. And then Yumia was getting everybody else's accounts. She was like, what do you think about Nina? I mean, you think she's one of us? Do you think she's a betrayer? Do you think she's a liar? And then we talked to Rutger, Nina, Victor, Lenya. Yeah, that's everyone. And they all come to the consensus that Nina was a good person all along. And then Lenya comes over here, and then she gives a bracelet to Nina. I was like, oh man, my heart, bro. Bro, the Atelier series is so wholesome, bro. It's so wholesome. And the second part of this game is probably my favorite part in this game. It was the song compilation. It was when pretty much you see the events that happen literally after the beginning cutscene of the game, where Basilius pretty much claps Yumia and throws her off the Perigris tree, the alchemist tree thing, right? And she falls down, and then she actually loses her memories of her mother. And that's a big downer on Yumia. I was like, oh my goodness, she can't remember her own mother. That's so sad, dude. And then I think it was Nina that requested the expedition time off just to cool down and have a break. And then everybody in the Aladis expedition, they were just chilling. Yumia was teaching Isla like how to shoot her gun staff, and they went fishing too. And then we see Rutger having an arm wrestling contest with Victor, and everybody just camping around the fire as the song plays in the background. And then Yumia realizing that she has everything she needs right here. Even if she loses her mother, she has precious memories that she can make with everyone there. It's little moments like that, including when Verso was playing the piano with Mael in Expedition 33. It's little moments like that and their downtimes that I really love about these games. And especially in RPGs too, because you're going to be in these characters throughout this entire game, you're going to be with these characters the entire game, and having these little moments just shows you how human they are, and I really love that about it. So those two moments right there, man, I really love the camping scene. And speaking of wholesome moments in this game, there's also the music. There's a total of 5 songs, 5 actual voiced tracks in this game, and they're pretty good too. There's one that plays in the camp scene, obviously. There's the 2 opening and endings, obviously, so that's 3. And then there's one song that plays before the final battle and one song that plays during the final battle. Those were all pretty good too. I really like them a lot. And the battle OSTs don't miss either. I think it's called Summer Rain. It's probably gonna be playing in the background right now. One of my favorite soundtracks in the game, because it's such a banger. And lastly, the combat. It's not the typical turn-based system that the Atelier series is known for, but if it wasn't apparent at this point, I love the control and the more degree of freedom of my character rather than just the static RPG mechanic. But that's just me. I like having more control in my character, basically. I can move my character, I can dodge my character, and shit, you can even change your character on the fly too, which is pretty cool. Plus, you can also use other elements as well. Man, the combat is fun as hell, man. Assuming that we're going by the rules of 3 with the recent Atelier games, because there was also the Sophie series, the Dusk series, and then there's the Rorona trilogy as well, and then the Ryza trilogy as well. So if we're going by the rules of 3, if Atelier Yumia is getting 3 games, and I'm pretty sure it will, it's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it should have 3 games, because Yumia is a really good character, and we still have a lot of things to go over Yumia. But yeah, if we're gonna get a sequel, I definitely want more emphasis on the building system. Like, not only limited to making buildings, but you can actually build vehicles. You can build a motorcycle, or you can build a boat that you can use to go on water, and you can actually swim on water. Similarly to Breath of the Wild, you can make your own raft there, right? You can build anything. What if Yumia takes that to the next level, except, instead of Link, you have a hot anime girl doing it. Hell, you can even make airplanes in the game where you can fly in the sky. That's how open world it's gonna be. That'd be really cool. And in terms of story, you guys already know what happened in the end with Flammy, right? It was so devastating seeing Flammy's death, man. It hurts. It still hurts, bro. But regarding Flammy, we still haven't known much about Yumia's mother and her origins, so maybe if we do get a sequel, a second game, we'll have more to know about Yumia's mother and her origins as well. How she lived her alchemy life or something like that. You never know. So yeah, that's Atelier Yumia, the Alchemist of Memories, and the Envisioned Land at my number 2 most favorite game I've played this year. So, we are finally here at my most favorite game of this year that I played, my personal game of the year. And if it wasn't obvious by now, there is a reason why I implemented that final rule of putting in DLCs on this list. That's right. My number 1 game of the year is Lies of P Overture is the best game I've played this year, and it's not even close, man. It's not even close. The original Lies of P game, the base game, if you've seen in my backlogged account, it is in my top 5 of all time. It may even be in my top 3, but I'll still have to reevaluate that. Obviously, this game is the typical Soul-like, but I'm pretty sure everybody and their mother can come to the consensus that Lies of P is the best Souls-like ever made. I already enjoyed the original game so much, but the DLC just made me fall in love with the game all over again, dude. It's so good. The original game had it all. Combat, music, nearly unlimited weapon customization with the handles and blades, tons of replayability, since you're gonna take a while to max out the P organ. There's also the goated boss fights, and the best aspect about the game itself, the peak story. Oh my god, the story is so peak, dude. Dude, if you've never played Lies of P, I beg of you, it will change your life, dude. Lies of P is so peak. I would even say Lies of P is better than Expedition 33. And I will stand on that. That's why Lies of P Overture is #1 on this list. It's #1 in here for a reason. The DLC just takes every good aspect about the base game and multiplies it to beyond. Except this time around, it emphasizes a more emotional and intimate part about the game. The main focus of this DLC is mainly P or Carlo, and then there's also Romeo and Leia, just those three. You don't really meet the two until you reach the end of the game. Like, the realization I had when I realized that the murderous puppet was actually Arlecchino, the same dude that was locked up underneath the Alchemist's tower thing. I don't know what it's called, like the Alchemist Tower or whatever. I forgot what it was called, like the Alchemist Island. Yeah, Alchemist Island. And as you reach the end of the DLC, you'll eventually reach the Monad Charity House, and that's the orphanage where Carlo grew up with his best friend Romeo. You also see in the letter on the ground that it was actually Geppetto that brought P into the Monad Charity House, and he left him there because his wife died. P's mother died, and Geppetto just felt like an empty shell of a man after that. He felt like he couldn't take care of Carlo, which, fair enough. I'd rather Carlo actually have a good childhood in the charity house rather than be raised by a bum, you know? So it's completely understandable why Geppetto put him in the charity house, but that still doesn't excuse him for just killing off Leia at the end. Never forgive him for that. And at the very end of this DLC, man, this moment right here is exactly what solidified my stance on Lies of P Overture being my most favorite game of this year. My game of the year.
The painting. This must have been Leia's room. Who knew her memories were so close? My dearest Carlo, listening to this song always reminds me of you. Do you remember the time we all gathered to play this piece together? We were happy then. They were precious, if all too short moments of happiness. Perhaps those times were so precious because of their brevity. Why is it that we humans always look for more when happiness is already in our grasp? I couldn't appreciate what we had then. But that wasn't because I found you tiresome. After breaking ties with the Monad family, I was lost. I could barely take care of myself. So taking responsibility for you and Romeo, it was more than I could bear at the time. But in the end, you two saved me. You washed away all the spite and hatred in my heart. Legendary Stalker. A worthless title. That cruel end should never have been your fate. It was only when I held your pale, cold face in my hands that I understood that we should have stayed together, that I should never have left the two of you. But now you belong to the past. forever. So in time, we will meet again. And in that moment, my wish is that I get to sit with you as the light of the sunrise washes over us, and we share a love. Together, your teacher, Leia.
The perfect clarity of Carlo's past, accompanied by the song played only by 3 instruments. Leia playing the violin, Carlo the piano, and Romeo with the cello. It's perfect. This is the standard that I hold every game that I play to. Not only just this Lies of P DLC, but the base Lies of P game to begin with. It's perfect, and I hold every game to this standard. So that's it. Those are all the 15 games that I've played, ranked from worst to best in terms of my personal enjoyment, that I beat in 2025. So I could have played more, but I don't know. I mean, I was just getting started with my YouTube career this year, and this is my first year of YouTube, so who knows, maybe I'll be able to finish more games next year in 2026. We'll just have to see. And I do plan on making games that I'll be playing in 2026, so do look forward to that. So what's your personal list of worst to best in your game of the year? Also, let me know if you disagree with this list or you have any thoughts about my list in general. But anyways, that's it for this list of 2025. I'll see you guys next year and when I rank all the games I played in 2026. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.